And very good afternoon, and welcome to Saturday preview with my good self, David Massey, for the Daily Punt today. It's been a while since I did a video. I think I might have done one for Royal Ascot time, and that was a good month ago, so I like to keep my hand in by doing one of these every now and then. And it's Eclipse Saturday, so I thought, why not do one? The eclipse itself is a bit of a disappointing affair, it must be said. Just the forerunners, only three realistically in with a chance, and as far as a betting contest goes, it doesn't make a great deal of appeal, I have to say. I suppose if you pinned me down to one of the three, it'd probably be St Mark's Basilica, I think, but I wouldn't. But there's the threat of some rain around tomorrow at Sandown. How much? Well, depends if it cops one of the thunderstorms. There's thunderstorms around, and one of those can change things around pretty quickly. Obviously, if the rain comes, it would help a day, but it would probably help St Mark's Basilica as well. So, and it would be possibly against Mishriff, but I mean Mishriff won on heavy ground last year as well. So it's just not a betting race. There's no angling for me into the coral eclipse tomorrow. There are races that are of more interest from a betting perspective. The 150 at Sandown, the Coral Charge, the 5 furlong race, where I'm going to go against Arecibo, and that sort of goes against the grain a little bit, because for the majority of the season I've been with Arecibo. Those of you who've been sort of reading the write-ups that I've been doing on the punt will know that I've always been a big Arecibo fan. Even last year when he was with O'Mara, the problem that Arecibo seemed to have was finishing the race off. He'd travel as well as anything throughout of his races, and then when push come to shove, he didn't find a great deal for pressure. Well, that's not been the case this season. Now Robert Cowell has really found the key to him, and he won for pressure first time up at Newmarket and has done nothing but progress since then, finishing second to Oxford in the King's Stand. And he might have gone a bit closer had he got a bit more of a run. He didn't get a lot of run from sort of 2 out to an out, but anyway, that's by the by. I think he'll win more this season, Arecibo. Whether he wins here or not, I don't know. Sandown's a weird track. They tend to race in a bit more of a group, and if Arecibo is going to be tucked in again to come with a late run, as is the way now with Arecibo, at Sandown it's harder to do. I always think you get them falling back in your lap a bit more, and spaces at a premium, whereas tracks like Newmarket and Ascot, they do tend to spread out a little bit more, and you can pick your way through. Sandown, it's harder. I'm not saying he can't do it, I'm saying it's harder, and he has got a bit of ground to make up with both Lazuli and Came From The Dark on Palace House form. Came From The Dark will be expected to, and I don't quite know why, but he's a shorter price than Lazuli, but I really like Lazuli here. I thought he won the Palace House with a little bit more. I'm not saying he was dossing, I'm not saying he was idling, but I think it was, he was always holding it. I thought Came From The Dark, and he won the Scurry here last June, and off the back of that he ran in this and was a little bit disappointing. He was made second favourite for it, and he let himself down. It was his worst run of the season. Now, given he'd already won the Scurry here the time before, you can't go blaming the track. I think it just came a little bit quick. It was a sort of 3-week turnaround, and I think he wants a bit longer between his races. His last 2 runs, his best runs, have come off the back of slightly longer breaks, month and more, as was his Newbury run last year when he beat Tis Marvellous. I just think he wants sort of a 50-day break between his races, and he's got that here. So the fact that he's coming here a bit fresher is of no consequence. I think it's a positive. And I think he might uphold that form, that Palace House form. So as much as I'm a fan of Arecibo, it'll be a case of me returning to Arecibo later on in the season. I think here I'm just siding with Lazuli. 225 as well, the Coral Challenge mile handicap. There's plenty you can give some sort of a chance into here. I think Escobar is definitely on the shortlist despite a couple of below par runs this season. I think Escobar might get this run to suit with Marie's Diamond in the field and May Danny. He needs a decent pace. I think he'll get that. The handicap has now given him a chance. He's now put him back to 103, and that's the same mark as he was third to River Nymphoff at Ascot in the Victoria Cup last year. This year, I should say. So I think he's giving him a bit of a chance now. I wouldn't rule Escobar out. He's looking too well handicapped to do so. But a bit further down, Trey Fleur, who got ignored for the Hunt Cup off the back of a win here. He won over course and distance here in June, and he won that with a little bit in hand. He won by almost 2 lengths, and he got a penalty and went to Ascot for the Hunt Cup, where I thought he's run all right really. He finished 10th and got beaten nearly 10 lengths, so on the face of it doesn't appear that good, but he didn't get a run that day. And once he was out in the clear, he's finished off quite strongly. He gives the impression he's still in form. Course and distance winner, and effectively he's £3 lower here than the Hunt Cup run because he was carrying the penalty there. So I think he's got a bit of a chance. There's Sheen Murphy in the saddle as well. So you've got plenty to like. Stall 12 isn't ideal, I have to say. But when he won here, he won from stall 10 of 10, so he can win from a wide draw. I just think there's more to come from him. It'll all be about what price he is, I think. But he's, as I say, gives the impression of a horse that's still on the up, still improving, and I like that. I did have a look at the rest of the Sandown card. Those races aside, in terms of finding a bet, I couldn't really find anything that I particularly liked, I have to say. So there's a couple at Haydock I mentioned, and one at Leicester that might be worth a swing at a whopping price. I know you like one on the punt at a whopping price. The Haydock 2 that I like, I'll be at Haydock tomorrow. I'm recording this Friday lunchtime, I should say. The 2 I like at Haydock, the martix handicap, the 205. I can't quite understand why Reverend Hubert is such a big price. Whether it's because they think that he needs soft ground or not, I don't know. Like everywhere tomorrow, it might get a drop of rain, Haydock. There's a bit due today, a couple of mils, 3 mils, and then a bit due sort of overnight and whatnot. I don't think it'll be quick tomorrow at Haydock. I'll say that. I'm not saying it'll be slow, but I don't think it'll be quick. And Reverend Hubert on handicap debut at Salisbury beat Downsman ahead. That's form that's working out. Downsman came out and won next time. 4th that day was Soapy Stevens, who reopposes here on worse terms. Soapy Stevens was giving him 3. And Reverend Hubert's getting a bit of weight off Soapy Stevens today. So Soapy Stevens, 4th there, has come out, won twice since, and now he's worse off. And further down, I think there's another one that as well that's finished behind there that was well down the field that's won since. It might have been Rewide, I'm not sure. But there was another one as well that's come out of that race and has won since. So the form of that's decent. Off the back of that, he needed every yard of that 12 furlongs to win at Salisbury. Off the back of that, they went to Doncaster and took on Kondo Isami et al. Kondo Isami was made 5-4 favourite that day. And Reverend Hubert got no run at all in the final furlong. He's finished full of running. They finished in a heap. The first 6 have finished in a bit of a heap. But Reverend Hubert gave the impression of one that he certainly stayed the trip. The trip wasn't the problem. He got 14 furlongs, no problem. He just didn't get a run when he needed one. And Sam Hitchcock's finished the race with him stood up with loads of running left in the horse. So you can mark that down as unlucky. The 4th there was Albert Camus. He came out and won yesterday at Haydock. So again, that form looks all right. I just think what you've got is a horse that's improving, that will stay the trip, that's got loads more to come. And you're getting about 12-14 to 1 for your money, and that looks plenty big enough to me. Richard Hannon as well, having winners for fun at the moment. Thorhammer Hansen taking 3 off. Loads to like. There's just lots to like. The only thing that I can find against him is possibly his draw. Stall 1 might not be ideal. But that aside, that's really about the only sort of small negative I can find. I think you're getting loads of positives for the money. I think he's got a real each-way chance here. And in a similar fashion, the other one that I sort of thought had an each-way chance, the Lancashire Oaks at 240 makes no appeal as a betting contest, I have to say. but the Old Newton Cup obviously does. There are some obvious ones here. There are plenty of horses that are improving, not least of which, right at the foot of the handicap. Who knows what this Prescott horse, Longsider, is capable of. It's only had 3 starts. Won 2 of them. Didn't actually need to improve last time to win its novice, and didn't really. Ran to a similar sort of level, but they've got it in off bottom weight, off 92. It falls into that could be anything bracket, Longsider. And similarly, you've got the likes of, Valerian Steel here, winner of his last 2. Lost Eden's improving, just didn't handle soft ground at Ascot last time. You can put a line through that. Grand Bazaar's still improving, possibly a bit unlucky not to win at Newmarket last time. There's loads of them. Soto says that there's just loads. But the one I like, if we get in sort of 16 to 1 for money, I thought Dark Jedi looked sure to give you a run for your money. He was second in the Old Borough Cup over course and distance last September off 92. He's £2 higher today, but this mark of 94 is still workable. When he originally went handicapping, he was off 100, and then he lost his form. It was probably a bit high, that was. But since he's moved to Tim Easterby last year, he's run consistently well in good quality handicaps, and as I say, including that Old Borough Cup, that was off 92, finished second to Yukon Glen that day. Made his seasonal reappearance last week at Windsor and shaped really nicely, got beaten 6 lengths, finished 5th, didn't get the best of runs, wasn't given a hard time. It's almost like they've had this in mind. He's had relatively quick turnarounds before, not 7-day ones I would say, but he's had sort of 2-week reappearance turnarounds and has run to form. So I don't see, it almost looks like a little bit of a plan, this. Run him at Windsor and then get him here next week over a track that he's gone well at in a big field handicap before. I like him. I think each way again we're going to get 14, 16 to 1 I think for our money, and extra places as well. I can see Dark Jedi. He might not be the best handicapped horse in the race, but he's rock solid and he'll run his race, and he won't mind a bit of rain either. If there is a drop of rain around, that's not a bother. Let me give you this one at Leicester that's a real shot in the dark. It's in the last, I think it's Ladies' Day tomorrow at Leicester. So let's hope the sun shines on him. There's a 0 to 60 handicap that finishes the card at Leicester, and I originally looked at it because it's got Katie's Kitten in. Katie's Kitten. Who won at Leicester when equipped with first time blinkers at the end of May. Won at 100 to 1. And then ran behind Cliff Cake, who reopposes here. Cliff Cake's come out and won since. At Weatherby, that was Cliff Cake's win, I should have said. And then went to Chepstow, and I quite fancied him to run well at Chepstow. But unfortunately I put him up as a bet, and unfortunately he got involved in a speed duel on the front with a ridiculously well handicapped one from Will Muir and Chris Garassi. It's called Gosney Gold, and he ended up falling away. And as I say, I put him up that day, didn't put him up as a bet 3 days later when he reappeared at Leicester in the blinkers, and he absolutely housed up, won by 5 lengths, or she reopposed I should say, reappeared 5 days later and won very, very easily at Leicester at 11 to 1, and I didn't have a penny on. And I was very, very, very cross with myself. Now, this was the reason I started looking at the racing, and I thought, is Katie's Kitten going to get another soft lead here? Might do, but she's not the bet. She isn't the bet. I'm gonna take a right go here, a bit of a swing at Selecto, Mick Shannon's, who has dropped like a stone in the handicap this season. Started off in April off 65, and is now down to 54. It's an £11 drop in 5 runs, and you can sort of see why. I mean, it doesn't look good. The first run at Chepstow was fine. That was over a mile. Bear that in mind. That was over a mile on soft ground. Got beaten 3 lengths by Saplato that day. That's okay. As low grade form goes, that's fine. Then went to Bath over 10 furlongs, finished midfield, got beaten just under 6 lengths by Plancina. All right, that's another okay run. Since then, 3 runs, and they don't look any good. However, I think the Yarmouth run at the end of May, he was badly placed that day at the back. He didn't want to be at the back, he wanted to be at the front. Then went to Goodwood, finished last of 10, but it's not an awful run because he got beaten under 7 lengths that day It looks a little bit better than it first appears. They finished in a heap, and he went from the front and got tired. Similarly, last time at Newbury, they upped into 11 furlongs on soft ground, and he was never going to get home there. And it was a race in which the front runners all fell in a massive. They went way too quick up front, and they fell in a big heap. So again, he just went too fast. Now that race was the race that was won by Tralee Hills, who came out and won again yesterday at Epsom. Third in that race was Military Decoration, who I put up as a bet yesterday, traded 1.3 before getting nailed on the line at Epsom by Ascot Day. So the form of that's actually okay. The front two have come out and won. Handicap has dropped him another £4 for that. And now he gets cheek pieces. And this is where it sort of gets a little bit interesting, because Mick Shannon in cheek pieces over the past year, he's 6 from 30. So 1 in 5 of them, when they've been equipped with cheek pieces first time, have won. And he's had 3 others placed as well. They have tried him in advisor. They tried him in advisor at Goodwood, but that just lit him up too much. That's when he finished last of 10, and it just lit him up too much. Cheek pieces might be ideal for this horse, you know. I can see him sitting second, third to Katie's Kitten, and if there's any ability left whatsoever, it's back to a mile tomorrow at Leicester on decent ground. Conditions should be fine. If there is any ability left at all, could go all right tomorrow. So I'd like to have it a big price. And you'd want a big price as well, because he you know, it might just be that he's completely regressing now and he's gone at the game. Equally, the cheek pieces, as we say, Shannon puts cheek pieces on them, it can turn them around, might just be the key. I'd want a big price, but you know, in a race that might not take a lot of winning, Class 6, he drops in grade as well, as we're saying tomorrow. If you're going to give me 25 plus, I might take a swing at it. So there we go. What's my best bet tomorrow? Dark Jedi each way, I think, in the Haydock race, the Old Newton Cup. That's the one I like. I think it'll give you a really good run for your money. And as I say, maybe there are 1 or 2 better handicap ones in the race. In fact, there probably will be, but that's not the point. I think conditions will suit. And if we do get a bit of rain, so much the better. Right, guys, have a good weekend. This is Dave Massey signing off for the Daily Punt. I will do the punt next weekend. But then the week after that, I will be off for the weekend. That's the weekend, I think it's about the 15th. So I'll be off that weekend. Anyway, back next weekend, guys. Thanks a lot. Have a good weekend.